the NBA coaching carousel, we have another coach that's gone just recently after winning a recent championship. Michael Malone was fired Tuesday, April 8th. A shocker across the league, actually. They won't extend the GM Calvin Booth either. Sources said that Jokic came out and said he understood. Well, he understood. The front office did what they did, and it came out. All he said was understood. And then incoming Hall of Famer inductee Carmelo Anthony said Jokic should have called BS if their relationship was in a good place. But y'all think that was?
I'll let you lead this year.
You know, I've been reading a lot into it, and with the recent firing of Budenholzer as well from the Bucks, it all kind of just makes a little sense on why they did it a little bit. Because from what I read, at least, and I love Russell Westbrook, but I think he probably was a main factor in that firing. Because I will say Russell Westbrook has helped him a lot this year, but when he hasn't, it's been bad. And Michael Malone, I think he favored Russ and gave him all those minutes ahead of the younger players, which rubbed people the wrong way, which I've read about. And obviously, he has the closest relationship with Jokic and Jamal Murray, but he was so hard on everybody else. And how he would when Malone goes to the presser, he's very unfiltered. He says whatever he wants to say, and he kind of calls out the players a lot, and which is what a coach is supposed to do. I'm not saying he's not doing his job, but it makes a little sense from a player perspective on why it happened and why there was so much. But the only thing that doesn't make sense is why before the playoffs. I get it maybe after the season, but the decision to fire a coach before the playoffs, especially when you are in the running to make a top 6 seed in the West and not be in the plan, is ridiculous. Like, what? Why are we doing that? Why are we forcing it, man? I understand the relationship is charred a little bit, but give them one more playoff run with Jokic having a historic season and the team on Jokic's back. Let the coach try one more time and prove that he can still coach and win a championship.
Well, think about the Denver fans too. They had Malone for, I believe it was a decade, right?
Yeah, he's the most winningest coach in Nuggets history. He literally outshines every other Nuggets coach that has ever happened. So
yeah, and you got him a championship, and that's exactly what this conversation is about. I mean, if your name's not Steve Kerr or Joe Mazzulla, and you won a championship in the last 6 or 7 years, you're out the door. And it's just
the only one that made sense was like Frank
interesting.
Vogel. That's the only one that made kind of sense because Frank Vogel was pretty bad the next year. But Budenholzer made the second round the next year and brought the Celtics to the 7 games, and he got fired.
There is a graphic out there that has all the coaches recently fired, I think since 2021, in which they've won championships and fired within 2 or 3 years. So we have Tyronn Lue, who was fired, who won in 2016, was fired in 2018. Nick Nurse, who was fired, he not fired. He won in 2019, and he was fired with that 2023.
Yeah, I don't think they re-signed him, wasn't it, or did he get fired? I don't remember.
No, he got fired. They went with
Yeah, he was supposed to come to the Bucks, but then went to Sixers.
Yeah,
that Raptors team was very fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I'll never understand Tyronn Lue because he was in the championship that year and then he got fired immediately after. I remember that like yesterday. It was crazy.
And then you have
Frank Vogel is the only one that makes sense.
Yeah.
To me.
You got Frank Vogel, who won in 2020, was fired in 2022, and then you have Mike Budenholzer, Bucks native, all of you guys Bucks. He won in 2021, fired in 2023, and for Doc Rivers, and then you got the Nuggets coach recently, who won in 2023 with Mike Malone, who won in 2023 and fired April 8th in 2025. So, I mean, it's looking at this graphic is actually insane because it goes to show you that winning a championship does not keep you and give you job security. I mean,
does not matter at all.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it shows that ownership values multiple championships, values multiple winning.
It's not.
instead
They're
of
not the
just
Michael
one.
Jordan Bulls, bro. They're not gonna win every year. It's not how it works. It's too talented in this league. I'll never understand it. It's the most talented the NBA has ever been. It's going to be way too hard to win every single year. Even for the Celtics that everyone thinks is going to repeat. That team's going to have the hardest time ever because their schedule's not going to be easy this year. The last year when they were the 1 seed, they kind of got it easy. I won't lie. They got what the first round, the Heat swept them. Second round, Donovan Mitchell injured. 1-5, swept the Pacers, beat the Mavericks team with Luka injured and not playing his up to his potential in defense, and Kyrie not playing up to his potential. I mean, seriously, this team's going to have a lot of issues. It's hard for a coach to continuously win in this league, and to only give him a 2-year span to win again after that first championship is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Give him time to build more on that team. Give him time to go again and try to find better pieces to make it to the finals again because it's going to be harder the second time. It doesn't make any sense to me on how the general management or the owners expect a championship every single year. I understand they have a superstar in Giannis and Jokic and Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown and the Raptors had Kawhi, but Kawhi left, so it wasn't really his fault. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So that's
When
just
you
my
think when you think about when you think about Michael Jordan's Bulls, they won what, two, three peats.
right,
They had the greatest basketball player at of all time. Like
right,
it took having the greatest basketball player of all time for them to even consider keeping Phil Jackson around. Do you think if Michael Jordan would only won two championships, Phil Jackson would have been there? Yes, because why? He created the greatest basketball player of all time. When you
right.
look at Steve Kerr's Warriors, this is what owners want. They want guys to be created to be the greatest of all time and and just overtake all of the old names that was there. Like Steph Curry with Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr's not going nowhere, but what has he won? He's won what, four championships. He's
Mm.
won a back to back. He's got Kevin Durant, a top 75 NBA player there. Then you got Steph Curry, who's a top 75 NBA
That's
player
what I'm
there.
saying. You need time to be able to build off that championship that you won before. That
Correct.
2016 championship. He
And then when
went
you
to
look at
the
Michael Jordan's Bulls, you got Michael Jordan, the probably number one on all
year.
time, which is the number one of the top 75. Then
Mhm.
you got Scottie Pippen, top 75. Dennis Rodman, top 75. It's like only outlier for Klay Thompson is he's number 76.
Yeah.
So it sucks. Like it's wild because you're asking players and staffs to create players, all time players,
It's
in
just not
which
gonna happen,
it's not
man.
going to happen. You got superstars like Jason Tatum in the league, who's going crazy, who's a superstar in the league. His coach got fired. Obviously, Udoka did something that
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that I
that's
understand that
different,
one.
but that's a lot different.
I
But
understand that one. You can't be eating, you can't be shitting where you're eating. You know what I'm saying? So,
like that's different. But is Joe Mazzulla on the hot seat if he doesn't win this season or next season? Like that's
maybe.
how I look at it. You got John Morant, who came from Murray State, and then Tevin Jenkins get fired and has them going to the champ and going to the playoffs like what, 4 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 4 out of 6 years.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
Like
You need
making
time to
the
build.
playoffs is hard enough.
Exactly. And picture it as the next 16 games after you making the playoffs. You gotta win.
You're playing against some of the greatest teams in the league
It
who
don't
are
make no
found their
sense.
chemistry.
It literally makes no sense, bro. Every team has chemistry and every team's gonna have better
like
pieces.
that at this point, it's a little. Oh, I lost you.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm back. I was talking about how we don't really know what ownership values anymore, and obviously you can't say championships because there's only been so many owners who have been a part of championship teams. So
Right.
these owners who are just getting rid of people right away, it's almost like they're just it's all a foresight. They don't care what you did in the past unless you made them a lot of money and made them look really good. So I think that's just a matter of looking ahead and do they really believe that this is something that can happen again? If they don't feel like that's the thing, they're going to clean house. And then I think that many owners are too quick to jump the gun on these coaches.
It makes you think, is Jason Kidd on the hot seat?
I don't even think he
Like
wants to be there.
No,
being
I
honest,
imagine he's probably gone soon.
He's
I don't
probably
think he
done.
wants to be
Yeah,
there
I don't think
anymore.
I think he's mentally out of it because they just
He looks
traded the
like it.
guy who. That's a story for another day. But they traded the guy who was, their franchise player, all time great up there with Dirk Nowitzki, and he ain't
Yeah,
even won a championship yet.
he didn't even look like he was into the game anymore, bro. He genuinely looked like he was just out of it. Which I mean,
I don't
after
blame him.
that first presser after the trade, he looked like he was just like gone. He didn't understand it. He was sitting next to Nico like he wanted to punch him. It was ridiculous. And like I was saying, if so, the Bucks had their finals the next year. They went to 7 games with the Celtics, and they lost by like 5 or 10, one of those. And the next year, Budenholzer gets fired because they were the 1 seed and they choked it away in the first round. Which, okay, I understood that makes a little bit of sense, but I still think with the pieces that they had, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Giannis, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, they could have had built off a little bit more, a little bit younger core, get Budenholzer some pieces, and plus his brother died, so he wasn't in the right headspace.
Right.
Or was his brother or his father, one of those.
I think it was his
And
brother.
yeah, so he wasn't in the right headspace, and he just fired him. Which it's a business, and it's gonna happen to everybody eventually, probably, unless they're just like Steve Kerr, who's gonna retire a Warrior. But it's it'll never make sense to me, man. I'll never understand it, and it's just a business. That's basically what I gotta understand at the end of the day.